Hey, what's up guys, and welcome back. Today we got a 2013 Mercury Verado Pro 4-stroke, and we got trim rams leaking. They are seeping pretty good. So today what we're going to do, I'm going to show you how to change these trim ram. Mercury gets about $750 for this whole ram and about $350 for this assembly right here, and that's per side. So cheapest you could possibly get out of this is $800 or so in parts, and the labor on top of that. So that's I'm going to show you guys how to get out of this for a lot less money. First of all, Pro Marine makes an aftermarket cap. That's a complete cap with all the seals in it. As long as your ram is in good shape and you don't have any pitting or problems in it, you can reseal this ram. These caps are about 130, 140 bucks a piece. And then of course your fluid, which you're going to fill up right here in the top on this yellow cap. It's kind of a bad place for it, but it does the job. I also try to pre-fill these rams before I put it all together. It helps out a little bit. So right now, I've already done this side. I did it first so that I can figure out how to do this, because I've never done one of these before, and I wanted to show you guys how to do it after I've had some experience doing it. I've got a trim pin inside of here that needs to be pulled out, pin inside of here, and then this ram will come out. You're going to pull these two bolts right here to take this ram off of the vessel, and then you take it over to the bench and work on it. I'm going to show you the process today and how I did it. This is the new updated cap right here. You see it's got multiple holes around it, which is actually nice because it gives you more positions for a spanner wrench to tighten it down. It's a very nice, pretty cap, nice seals as well, and it's working great. This is the factory Merc one that's dumping fluid. So what I'm going to do is show you the process in taking this apart, and then we're going to take it over the bench and seal her up. It's also starting to rain here today, so I've got my awning up, and hopefully it doesn't rain too hard and we can get this ram apart and started at least. So the first thing you're going to take off on here are going to be these two Allen head bolts here. I sprayed this down yesterday real good to make sure these weren't going to break out. I believe this is for your trim indicator. I'm not certain yet, I haven't pulled it off, but this right here needs to come off first, and that'll give you access to the pin. Okay, so once you remove those two bolts, you're going to want to try to shimmy this cap off. Go easy with it so you don't break it. The rain is getting stronger, so I may have to call it for a minute. Anyways, this is our trim indicator right here. We're going to go inside and pause this video and come back when the rain stops. Yeah, it's going to be kind of hard to repair outboards today. Back it into the shop, but it's a pretty big boat, and it's going to end up coming out of the drain plug down there and flooding the entire shop. On the bright side, I'll be able to water test boats in the parking lot soon. Woo! Man, it is coming down cats and dogs. Trying to do the trim rams on this 300 Verado. I was making a video as well, so I had to pull all the equipment in. Woo! There we go. Not too far. Yeah, I'm thinking it's time to go to lunch. Okay, so on this trim sensor right here, this cap is actually supposed to stay attached to that, so hopefully it pops back in when I'm done. If not, I'll put a little bit of RTV or something on there. I'm going to spray it down, because these things get stuck pretty good. And take a pick of some sort and just kind of work it slow. You don't want to damage this thing. It's actually pretty tough to get out of there. Okay guys, so I had one heck of a time getting this bad boy out. So that's what I was dealing with right there. A lot of corrosion, man. These things are tough. Woo! Alright. See you guys in a few. Okay, so I'm back. It's wet as hell out here, but it's no longer raining. So we got our trim indicator off here. It's pretty nasty in there. I had a hell of a time trying to get this out of here. So ring that's in there that keeps the water out, it really seems to get a lot of corrosion on it. The cap popped off the back of this trim indicator. It's right here. It's really not too big a deal. I don't know if it's going to hold real good when I put it back on, but I'll probably put a little bit of silicone or something to help it hold on there. So inside of here we have a C-clip, and we got to remove that C-clip. We have to pull this pin out of the trim pin on the top here, and then pull this pin out of here. Okay, so I like to use a pair of side cutters to get this pin out of here. Take them and I get right behind them, try to squeeze in and pry forward, then come back, and eventually it'll come out of there. Inside of here we have this C-clip. Try to get this trim indicator off to the side somewhere, anywhere but in my way. Now to get the C-clip out of here, you're going to want to, they're almost always broken. This one's broken as well. I don't know why they rust out and break. All of them seem to. And we got one more piece left in there. So I'll take a little pick and try to get in there and see if I can get that out of there. Woo! Alright. Man, what a pain. Got it. So now to get this pin out of here, on older and different Merc trim units, you get behind it on one side or the other and drive it out. Here you're gonna, it's threaded and you have to pull it out. So what I've made is a bolt with a washer and a nut to space it, and I'm taking this nut and putting it here and taking the flat washer and threading it in. And I kind of use it like a puller. Not gonna pull yet, I need more spacers. There we go. Let's back it out. See if our pin's moved. Okay, as you can see, so with that puller, as you can see, the pin is now flush with this. So at this point, I'll put my bolt back in and see if I can actually pull on this. That or create a larger washer to go over this is what I might do, but I'm trying not to scratch the motor. Very nice motor. With my bolt threaded in, I'm going to put some pliers behind it, kind of tap on it. There we go. There she is, pin in hand. Pin's in nice shape still as well. Okay, so now our ram is free from here. We need to loosen this top cap before we remove this ram from here, because otherwise it's hard to remove this. I tried a spanner wrench on the other side and I could not get it to break free. Ended up using my air impact chisel, and that does a lot of damage to the top of this cap. But right now what that does do is gets this thing loosened, and I have a brand new cap. So you got to be careful. You don't want to hit the ram or do any major damage. So you got to be careful with an air chisel. And that bad boy's tight. There you go, it's starting to move. Once you get it to start to move, you're usually pretty good, so just burp it a few more times, and at that point switch over to a manual device. And in this situation, my manual device of choice is going to be some L-shaped or 90-degree needle nose pliers. Put them inside the grooves, and I use it like this. It's a lot faster than swinging around a ratchet and a spanner wrench that's no longer going to fit in these holes anyways. So let me get my like to get this ram off of here before the rain comes back so I can seal it all up. And you get it loose enough, you can grab it by hand. Okay, that's loose enough. I can take the rest apart on the bench. Now we're going to try to loosen these down here. These are your Allen heads that hold this ram to this assembly. I'm going to use an HW6 on these. Let's make sure they're not going to... Alright, that's what I wanted to see. Make sure they weren't frozen. Yeah, grab a little impact and speed this process up. Okay. That's one. And the second one. When I pull this off, I'm going to lose a little bit of fluid. Not much, hopefully. Alright. Actually, should have trimmed this ram down first. Bad job, Charlie. But I can get it out of there. Nice. Alright, come on, buddy. Alright, let's take this ram over to the bench. Here's our old cap from the old one. And some miscellaneous parts. Get a couple rags in here so we don't damage it. I'm going to continue to take my cap off of here. Now, unlike a lot of these trim units that I've resealed in the past, this ram is kind of tough to get in and out of this cylinder for some reason. It's a very tight, snug fit. Just not a bad thing, just a little harder to work on. So our cap is up. I'm going to go ahead and dump out the fluid in the top of this. We won't have as much fluid falling in the shop. Woo! What a pain, man. Okay, so let's take our cylinder, put it off to the side. And now we're going to take our ram and put our ram inside of this vise so we can work on that. Alright, we got an Allen head bolt up here, which happens to be the same size as our bolts on the trim indicator. It's like a 532. So this is under a little bit of pressure here, so take it slow. It's not going to spring out and blow all over the place, but it does have more pressure than a lot of units I've taken apart. Okay, so once you get that off, you're going to take the cap and screw, put it over here. You go and pull your springs out. Should be 7 springs, and inside of there is going to be 7 of these little barrels. And those plungers are sitting on top of on ball bearings. So don't dump this cap anywhere. These bearings will go on the ground. To get it apart, I'm going to take a spanner wrench and set it right on top of here so that I can loosen this, because this is threaded on here. I left one of my pins in there. Okay. So use caution, keep it down so you don't damage this. I say it was almost comical, man. I spilled some trim unit fluid on the floor, so I'm sliding around here. I'm trying to get leverage with this breaker bar, and it's making me ski. So got our top plate loose. Let's go ahead and spin it off. Go easy with this, don't drop it. It's full of ball bearings, and you don't want to have to chase those all over the place. So take it off carefully, set it down. Now we can pull off our cap. So there's our cap. On the inside of it are seals that you can clearly see are all deteriorated. It's really common on these. And I haven't got a seal out fully enough to try to look for a replacement, but it's best just to buy brand new caps. They're cheap, they're nice, and everything is new inside of them. Pro Marine sells these caps. The Pro Marine part number is 8241, and they're sold here in over in Palmetto, Florida. ProMarineUSA.com should have them. So these are aftermarket caps, but they work wonderfully, and they're very well made. Here's the factory cap, here's the aftermarket cap. It's a direct replacement. So I'll take a little bit of trim fluid and put it on the ram. Inspect your rams while you're here. Make sure you don't have cuts or burrs or nicks in them. If you do, you're going to have to deal with that. But this one is nice and smooth. So get a bunch of fluid on your seals as well before you put it together. Plenty of lube, man, that's important. Okay, cap is on. Now we're going to reverse the process with our bottom plunger. I'm going to thread it back down. Now there are no torque specs for this. There may be somewhere, but they're not made public because you're not really supposed to be changing these caps. This is aftermarket. They want you to buy this entire ram. So use your judgment here. Run this cap down and make sure it's good and tight. Good and tight, man. Don't overdo it and don't leave it loose. So we've got that on. Now we're going to put our plungers back in. Okay. Doesn't really matter the orientation of these, just kind of set them in there. There's no groove they lock in or nothing like that. Just want to make sure that they're all there. Okay, once you got them all in, you're going to take your springs and set them on top of the plunger. And then we've got our cap and our bolt. We'll set this down. You're going to have to press some tension down on this to get that bolt to start threading because it's too high right now. So you pull it down, and once you've got it low enough to start getting some threads in there, run 3 or 4 threads or so before you let off of this. A lot of spring tension on these. Okay, once you think you got 4 or 5 turns or so on there where it's good, we're going to walk through here before we tighten it down. Make sure none of our springs are buckled or twisted. I like to try to come through here and just sort of straighten them out a little bit so they seem to be pressing straight down. You don't want them to bind on any of the plungers, popping out or anything crazy. So just kind of make sure that they're pretty straight in there. Now we're going to tighten this top Allen head down. Okay, same deal with this one. Don't snap the screw off, but run it good and snug. And make sure we got lots of lube on our cylinder here. Okay, so we're going to set our ram down in there. Now this is the front of the ram. Up here you'll see that it's kind of beveled out like it's countersunk. That's the side the pin goes in when you put it back together. The other side is smaller, and so you want to make sure that this heads towards the front of the ram. The front of the ram, it bolts out here, it goes to the motor. This is my front. This is where that pin's going to go. So we're going to try to get this pushed back down in here. It's going to leak some fluid. It's going to be a pain. Just take your time. Okay, I guess I should have dumped more fluid out of this than I did, It made a mess. So we're going to push our ram down. You want your ram down low enough so that you can bring this cap down and start to thread it in. If it's too high, you won't be able to get it to thread in. Now I'll tighten this down completely with a spanner wrench once we get the ram back on, because at that point everything will be very stable and give me plenty of leverage to be able to tighten this down. I'm going to make sure I can get this thing together before the rain comes. Okay, so before you put this together, take a look at your O-rings right here. These O-rings are very nice. Make sure both of them are in place. Make sure this O-ring right here is nice as well. I want to keep the oil in, and that's how we're going to do it. Okay. Ooh, more fluid out. All right. Okay, so you want to put your 2 Allen screws back in. Go ahead and snug them up with a ratchet. Okay, so let's see if we're still lined up. We actually are almost lined up. I'm going to go ahead and tighten this cap down. You're going to want to get your spanner wrench and snug this bad boy up. Careful not to slip off of it and damage this ram. Good and tight. Alright. So now, it'd be hard to see in there, but I'm not quite lined up with my ram. I should be able to, at this point, punch the trim just a hair and elevate it. It should function now. That should be it. It looks like about it. So now we're going to take our pin, clean it off. I like to add a lot of grease to it. Slides around easier for installation as well. Take my pin, and keep in mind this hole right here needs to line up here so you can punch this pin underneath, put it back in. So try to get it very similar to there. You can turn it after you get it in, but try to get as close as you can in the meantime. I also leave my bolt in, my screw I made to pull this out so that I can wrap it with a hammer. Okay. Tap it in. Now it's going to go in there about 1/4 inch or so. You can look under here with a flashlight and see when you're lined up. So I'm not sure if it just bottoms out exactly where you need to make it, but it may. So let's pull our screw out. There's good chances I'm not lined up with this pinhole and the hole in the pin. So I'm going to put a big bladed flat-headed screwdriver on the inside here, because it's cut out for a flathead, or like a flathead blade for this. So I'm going to take a flashlight and try to look in here, and it looks like I'm not too far off. I may need to just turn this pin this direction a little bit. So to do that, I'm going to use this flat-headed screwdriver, and you won't really be able to turn it by hand probably, but the snap-on screwdrivers have the ability to put a wrench on them, so it gives you a little more leverage, enables you to turn things. Okay, looks like we might be lined up. Alright, you get it lined up, it'll start to go in a little bit. You'll watch the cowling, watch your ram, drive it home. Alright, nice and flush. Alright, now our trim indicator. I'm going to put a little grease around here to help possibly prevent some of the sticking in the future, if possible. I don't really have too much grease on something on an outboard. Alright, we're going to make sure we're lined up. And I'm going to put a little bit of grease on my bolts that go in there as well, in case we need to service this at some point in time. Run my trim indicator back in. Snug it down, don't over tighten it. Okay, all the way on. And I'm going to clean this cap off and see if I can make certain that this decorative cover doesn't fall off. This cover goes like this. And it does have some pins still in there. It may hold, but I know it'll hold if I put a little dab of some RTV. Get it off as best you can. Whenever I do use RTV on anything, I like to use the Permatex Right Stuff. Hardens fast, resists a lot of chemicals, and does a crazy good job sealing things up. Alright. Alright, let's get this cap back on. Alright. So that thing will probably be dry in like an hour, but I'll let it dry overnight. It's primarily just a decorative cap, but looks nice and it belongs there. So I expect that to stay on well without any issues. Okay, so now let's see if this thing will activate. Need to go up so we can add some fluid. I'm sitting on a trim lock now. It's hard to get in here and add fluid, so I'd like for it to raise up a little bit. Should have put more fluid in this ram when I reassembled it. So it looks like I'm gonna have to fill it up right here. Alright, so it's holding. Alright, so we want this to be back in. Flip our trim lock out. Got a yellow fill cap right here. It's not exactly threaded, it's kind of clips and locks into place as you turn. It's like a partial turn kind of lock into place. I use a 1-inch open end wrench and just turn it. You'll see it elevate immediately to try to come up, because like I said, it doesn't take a lot of turns. It's like less than one turn almost to get this cap off. Once it stops turning, you just pick it up. Okay, and that's where your fluid is going to go, down into here. They say you should make a dipstick as well, because you're going to want it about 1 inch from the top of it when you fill it up. You don't want to fill it all the way to the top. If you do, you're going to have to take some back out. Okay, so I'm going to use a transfer pump to put my hydraulic fluid inside of this trim unit. It's a little bit easier. You're going to want to fill it to about 1 inch of the top. It's really hard to see. Looks like I'm full right now, so I'm too high. I'm going to hit my button and suck some of that fluid in. Okay, it says I'm all the way full. Don't want to put too much in there. I believe I'm full. Alright, so once I believe my unit is full of fluid, I'm going to flip my lock out, and I'm going to put this cap back on. It's got an O-ring up here. Make sure the O-ring's in place and there's no damage to the cap. And you're going to kind of spin it until it's sort of sets. It's almost like the drain plug on a Ford F-150 or a lot of the new vehicles, honestly. You're gonna turn it and it's gonna kind of click or just lock. You're done at that point. It doesn't need a bunch of a torque or tightening. It's a quick lock. So we are good there. And pull our guards off. Okay, so now we're going to test this unit to see if it works and that we're not leaking. Stop there, go back up. We're going to bleed the air out of the system. Shouldn't take a whole lot. Usually pretty self-bleeding almost immediately. Turn down. Turn back up. It's looking really good so far. And when this unit is down, it's got the most amount of pressures on the seals. So that's when you're going to see a leak, when it's down, not when it's up. At least most of the time. So I'm going to get some water and clean this thing off. And I'm going to trim it down and let it sit overnight. But pretty sure we are good to go. So that's it, guys. That's how you can fix the leaks on your Verado trim unit for a lot less money and get a nice result. If you guys are into boat repair videos and you like what you're seeing, please hit that like button. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. And until next time, guys, thank you.